Hi guys and welcome back to the Mighty Blues. My name is of course Cameron and welcome back today to another live stream. It is the instant match reaction. Everton 3, Bournemouth 0 at Goodison Park this afternoon. Well, that was absolutely sound, wasn't it? That was an absolutely fantastic afternoon. Do you know what? I woke up this morning with a banging headache. I felt sick. I was hungover. I could barely move out of bed. And the last thing I needed today, and I'm sure the last thing any of us needed, was Everton to turn up at Goodison and lose our fifth home game on the bounce against yet another team that we should have beaten. And I can't tell you how good it feels to have sat there and watched us comfortably win a game of football with no real problems, no real issues, no real trouble, and just turn up, perform, take our chances, win the game, and then get home and be able to say, do you know what a good afternoon that was there. That was exactly what I needed today. That was my hangover cure. Do you know when some people say, oh, get a Mackey's, get a Chinese, let's get it back on the ale? My hangover cure today was turning up and watching Everton comfortably win a game of football, and that is absolutely what we should have done going into this one, because ultimately we were facing a side that hasn't won a game all season. But that doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to turn up and we're going to win, as we saw last week against Luton. So how good that feels, I can't describe, honestly. It was fantastic. Our best performance of the season, I think it's fair to say. Certainly our best performance at Goodison Park all season, although that doesn't take much doing. And probably our best performance under Sean Dyche, to be perfectly honest with you, in terms of the way in which we controlled the game, in terms of the way in which we took our opportunities. We were comfortable. It could have comfortably been 4-5, maybe even 6-0 on another day. I'm hearing people leaving Goodison Park complaining about the fact that we didn't score another couple of goals, and I'm turning around like, oh my god, what are we doing complaining that we didn't make it 4 or 5 or 6, despite the fact we've not won a home game for about 45 years and we've just won today. But that's what you want. That is absolutely what you want. You want to be leaving Goodison Park thinking, how have we not put 4 or 5 past them, but yet we've still won the game 3 or 4-0 or 2 or 3-0, whatever it is. It's much better and more positive leaving Goodison, talking about how you've not won by more, other than obviously talking about how you've not won at all. So, yeah, a fantastic performance. Fair play to the manager. I say it every week. I'm always the first one to criticise him, and I'll always be the first one to give him credit. Again, I think, a lot of people will say today that the performance and the result today was exactly what it should have been against Fulham, exactly what it should have been against Wolves, exactly what it should have been against Luton, but only today we took our opportunities, and therefore it's not the manager's fault we performed like that. The reality of the situation is we'd lost 4 home games on the spin before going into today, and yes, we'd been much better in those games against Luton and Wolves and Fulham than the opposition, but the reality is we hadn't won them, and we needed to win this one today, and we turned up, and as I said, fair play to him, because we set up well. We controlled the game from the first minute to the last minute. Bournemouth's fans were singing, "We've got the ball." When was the last time an opposition fan has come to Goodison Park and sung, "We've got the ball"? It's baffling. It's absolutely baffling. But no, as I said, we controlled it from the first minute until the last. We took our opportunities. We created opportunities. I thought Dwight McNeil was absolutely fantastic today. Unfortunate to not get a goal, but I thought he was brilliant. I thought Dominic Calvert-Lewin was absolutely fantastic today. Once again, a little bit unfortunate to not score, but his overall play was brilliant. Jack Harrison was absolutely fantastic. His goal is just perfect, isn't it? His goal is absolutely perfect, but his overall performance was very, very good in itself. James Garner looked much more comfortable in the centre of midfield than he does on the right-hand side. And obviously, the team news had come out an hour before, and Garner Gay was originally meant to be in the team and, got an injury in the warm-up. Hopefully that's nothing too serious, and he was replaced with Onana. I believe Onana was taken out for a disciplinary reason. Now, whether or not the manager would have had Onana in the team anyway is a different question, and it'd be interesting to see if he would have had Onana in the team, who would have come out. Because I genuinely... Listen, I like Adisa Garnagay. I think he is extremely good at what he's good at. I don't think he's very good at much else, but I think in terms of nicking the ball off opposition players, winning it back, intercepting, doing that sort of dog work in the middle of the park, I think he is very, very good at that. But I'll be honest, I'm not necessarily sure that there's a massive need for a Disagarnagay in games at Goodison Park like this one, against teams that aren't particularly very good, against teams that, ultimately, if we can get at them and we can, take one or two of our chances, we should win the game comfortably. And that is the same for the game against Luton last week. I'm not so sure there was a massive need for Garner in that game, although I'm not saying he played poorly. I'm just saying it's very obvious that the manager wants James Garner in this team. Very, very obvious. And it's very, very obvious that James Garner should be in this team based upon his performances. Now, one thing we absolutely know is he cannot play right midfield. We've seen that on a couple of occasions. He can play at right back, but in playing at right back obviously nullifies his opportunities going forward. He is a central midfielder, and he should be playing in central midfield. And I feel like the manager in the last couple of weeks has got himself into this problem of needing James Garner in the team, but also not wanting to take a Disagarnagay or Onana or Doucouré out. Whereas I actually think that midfield today is the midfield that we should adopt going forward, especially in home games against teams that we fancy ourselves in. Again, I'm not saying it should be the same when we go to Liverpool, and play Liverpool and Anfield in a couple of weeks. I'm not saying it should be the same when we're playing difficult away games that, we're maybe not the favourites in. Yes, fine, have a Disagarnagay in there then and have somebody in there that, can break the play up and can ultimately, can be that midfielder who intercepts and does all the running around. That's fine. I get that completely. But for home games against teams that we should be turning up and beating comfortably, like Luton, like Fulham, like Wolves, and like today, I don't think there's much need for the Disagarnagay in there. I think that midfield too of James Garner and Onana works fine. I thought Onana was sound today. I don't think he was massively involved. But I think what he was involved with, he did well. His slide tackling was good. His passing was good. His control on the ball was good. James Garner, as we said, gets the opening goal. Really, really good finish. And then was everywhere. Every time we had the ball, or every time Bournemouth had the ball and we needed to win it back, it was James Garner that was there doing that dog work. So that nullifies the need for the Disagarnagay. And I'm not saying that Garnagay should never play for Everton again or he should be taken out because he's terrible. I just don't think there's a need for him, Onana, and James Garner in the same starting 11. I think it's overkill, and it's a negative approach to these types of games that we should be approaching positively. And look what happened today when we approached it positively. We were absolutely comfortable. Everton haven't won a game like that comfortably since Crystal Palace at home last season. We haven't. We've won games before, and okay, you could say Brighton away, but Brighton away was a counter-attacking performance in which we had about 5% of possession. And let's not forget, for 20 minutes in the second half, Brighton had a few opportunities that could have easily been converted into goals if it wasn't for Jordan Pickford or a couple of bits of great defending. We haven't won a game that comfortably where we've just turned up at Goodison, and from the first whistle to the last whistle, we've been in control. We've taken our chances. The opposition team have basically looked like they're there for the day out since Crystal Palace at Goodison last season. In fact, I think it was around about the same time, early October. So it was so refreshing to see that today, because that's what we should have seen versus Wolves. That's what we should have seen versus Fulham. That's what we should have seen versus Luton. And yes, I understand the players are at fault for that, for not taking their opportunities and for not being as clinical enough. But I also think where the manager comes into play is he hasn't necessarily been positive in his approach to those types of games, whereas today he was, whether it was forced or not, he was positive, and we looked brilliant for that. We looked absolutely brilliant. Jack Harrison was absolutely fantastic on the right hand side. Dwight McNeil, although he didn't score a goal, Dwight McNeil was a goal away from a 10 out of 10 performance. He was fantastic. Dominic Calvert-Lewin was a goal away from a 10 out of 10 performance. We were brilliant. And yes, Bournemouth were terrible today, and ultimately there's a reason as to why they've not won a game all season. It's because they're not a particularly great football team. But Bournemouth have always caused us problems when they've come to Goodison Park. They've always presented a team that will make it difficult for you. Even on the final game of last season, when we beat them to stay up, they still made it incredibly difficult. They did, and these are the type of comments that wind me up. Basically, I'm still unhappy with Dyche after the 3-0. Everton had lost 4 out of 5 home games. this season before today. This was a brilliant result. It was a fantastic performance. And as I said, it feels amazing to just turn up, win a game comfortably and go home. But let's not start acting like everything's been fine before today and people are overreacting. They're not overreacting. 4 defeats out of 4 in the Premier League at Goodison is a disgrace, especially when you think about the teams we've lost. Today, the manager got it right, whether it was through a forced decision or not. He got it right, and hopefully now he sees that in the very near future. We've got some really, really difficult games coming up, so the pressure ultimately is still there. We've got to play Liverpool at Anfield after the international break. We've then got West Ham away from home, which will be a difficult game. Then you've got Burnley in the cup, Brighton at Goodison, which will be a difficult game, Palace away, United at Goodison, Forest away, Newcastle at Goodison, Chelsea. So our next 5 home games at Goodison Park are Brighton, Manchester United, Newcastle, Chelsea and Manchester City. They're our next 5 home games at Goodison Park. In between that, we've got Forest away, Tottenham away, Burnley away, Palace away. So we are now coming into a really, really difficult period, and that was why it was so important for us to get as many points on the board as we can up until this international break. I don't think we've got as many as we should have done, but we done what we needed to do today, and we walked away with all 3 points, and hopefully the manager can surprise us, and these players can surprise us in some of those games, whether it be Brighton at Goodison, whether it be, Newcastle at home, whatever it might be. Our next 5 home games are incredibly, incredibly difficult, and we can't really afford to lose them 5. And had we have lost today, that would have potentially been 10 on the bounce. So, yeah, let's not get over our heads in the fact that we've won today, but let's enjoy it, because we deserve to enjoy it, and we deserve that. You know, Everton fans don't get that type of performance very often. You know, forget winning a game or losing a game. Very, very rarely do we get that type of performance where we turn up and we just comfortably beat a side with no real issue, no real problem, and then we can walk away from it with a smile on our faces. So we should enjoy that tonight. However you want to enjoy it, enjoy it. I'll be going home. I'm still hungover. I'll be going home. I'll be having a takeaway. I'll be sitting down and I'll just be smiling all night with, you know, at the fact that Everton have won that game of football. Yeah, as I said, I thought we were excellent from the first minute to the last minute. Obviously, we were creating chances. We were getting forward. We were the attacker. We were clearly the team that were, wanting to make the impression on the game. The first goal is a really, really good finish by James Garner. Again, hard work. Hard work in the middle of the park. Hard work. Battling for the ball back. There wasn't very many times we didn't have the ball today. Or we lost the ball in a potential counter-attack. But when we did, we won it back. We won it back really, really well. Garner fighting for it. Harrison fighting for it. Onana fighting for it. We win it back. We get it in a good area. Garner gets his shot off. To be fair, I think the goalkeeper's view is probably blocked by his defender. But nevertheless, it's a really cool, calm finish into the bottom corner. It's an excellent, excellent finish by James Garner. He buries it. We go 1-0 up, and then you're thinking, right, okay, let's really, really capitalise on this now. Don't let them back in the game. Don't let them equalise. Don't let them grow in confidence. And there was a spell where Bournemouth had 3 or 4 corners where I was thinking, oh, are these are gonna score from one of these like Luton did last week, and the whole game is gonna turn on its head. They didn't. We defended them really, really well. We go up the other end, and do you know what? I don't often do this, but I will do it today, and I might never have done this on it. By the way, if you are enjoying, please do hit that like button. It does mean a huge amount to me. And if you're new to the channel, please do subscribe. I don't often do this, and I might never ever have done this on the channel before, but I'm going to do it now. Fair play to the referee today. Don't get me wrong. I do think he allowed some things to sort of slide on Bournemouth's point of view. I think they should have probably had about 4 or 5 yellow cards in the first half. But Jack Harrison's goal, firstly, is never a foul. And secondly, is a unbelievable finish. It is an absolute exquisite finish. However, most referees in this league would have blown that whistle before he even got that shot off. because they would have absolutely shit themselves at the mere fact that the goalkeeper had gone down because they've got no bottle, they've got no confidence. They're just terrible at their job. And most referees in this league would have blown that whistle and would have denied that goal. But he didn't. He said, "No, get up. It was your own man that flew into you." And the finish is just... The finish is unbelievable, isn't it? Let's be honest. The finish just made me go, oh, do you know what I mean? Just like, that is fantastic. And don't get me wrong, I thought Jack Harrison's overall performance today was excellent, even without the goal. His battle, his work rate, his desire, he's lively, he's quick, he's nimble on the ball. I thought he was absolutely fantastic. But that finish, to hit that first time, that confidently... Put it this way, if he was playing for other teams in this league, that'd be all over the news and it'd be getting replayed and he'd be winning goal of the month. It's an absolutely fantastic finish. I know the goalkeeper's off his line, but to dink him from there and have the technical ability to do that was fantastic. And yes, as I said, David Coote did let them get away with a couple of things. And to be fair, he let us get away with a couple of things as well at times. But you know what? He also... as I said, he let the game run at really important times when we needed him to, and that goal was a perfect example of that. We then continued to create opportunities. We had another couple that we probably should have... We could have gone in at half-time, 4-0 up. Dominic Calvert-Lewin hits the bar. Onana has one that just goes wide, which is unfortunate. And you're thinking, we're really, really on top here. We're really on top. Bournemouth are not in the game whatsoever. Let's continue this. Let's go out in the second half and let's do exactly the same. And we did. We come out in the second half. We keep pressing. We keep pushing. Bournemouth, as I said... practically no involvement in the game. Couple of corners that were a little bit worrying, but nothing much. We go up the other end. Dwight McNeil with a lovely ball. Again, other referees in the league would have blown up for a foul. They didn't. They allowed it to go. Onana wins the ball, passes it to Dwight McNeil. Dwight McNeil with an excellent chipped ball into the box. I'm not sure how Jack Harrison misses it, but it falls back out to Decore, who blasted into the back of the net for 3-0. And yeah, like I said, I mean... Again, maybe I'm just used to watching Everton disappoint me and not make my weekends and not make me happy and not give me something to smile about. But it is just lovely, isn't it, to see us just turn up comfortably and win a home game. And the players, you know, again, there's this thing at the moment amongst the Evertonians where when we lose... Some people say it's the manager's fault. Some people say it's the players' fault. When we win, some people say, well, we won because of the manager. Some people say, well, we won because of the players. The reality is, when we lose games of football, it is the players' fault and it is the manager's fault, because ultimately both of those groups of people have the responsibility to ensure that Everton win games of football. So when we don't win, the players have to take responsibility, and so does the manager. And when we do win, the players take responsibility, and so does the manager. And I thought the players today were absolutely fantastic. I thought the manager got it right in terms of that decision before the game to put Onana back in there and have the two in midfield. And we can all go home with a big smile on our faces because we've won a game of football. It was absolutely fantastic. Again, does this now change the whole situation that we're in and make everything instantly better? No, it doesn't. We've still only won one game in 5 at Goodison, which is really, really poor when you think of the teams we've won, when you think of the teams we've lost to. But, you know, we can only talk about the last game and the last performance, and the last performance was a really comfortable, fantastic win against a team that have caused us problems in the past. And we should be happy with that. We should take that, and we should be able to move on. And got a couple of weeks international break now where we can, you know, not have to watch Everton play, so we can go unbeaten for a couple of weeks, which is absolutely brilliant. And then obviously we'll you know, we've got the Merseyside derby after that, so we'll wait and see what that brings. But a fantastic win, a really good performance, exactly what was needed today. It's pressure off the manager, it's pressure off the players, and yeah, a really, really, really nice day at Goodison, which is not something we've been able to say in a long time. Plus, it's hot, and I'm sweating my arse off, so there you go. If you've enjoyed it, please leave a like. It does only take a second. If you are new to the channel, please do subscribe as well. That would mean a huge amount to me. Players rating will be up a little bit later on, because I've got a bit of running around to do first, but we'll give it a couple of hours before that goes up so you can all chill and relax and do whatever you're doing. But yeah, massive thank you all for watching. Please do hit that like button if you have enjoyed it. Please do subscribe if you are new as well, and we'll see you later. Get in up the fucking toffees. See you all in a bit.